So in 1994, I put together a profit sharing plan for every single employee. Now, it's nice to put it together. It's even nicer when you hit it. Right? But what really drove it was a whiteboard just like that, that's in our cafeterias. Lets them know every day how they're doing, plus or minus. Did we hit the pounds we needed? Did we hit the production hours that we needed? Did we hit the GP as an organization that we needed? Every day. And when they sat down and ate lunch, they took ownership to their business. And it is their business. And our business went from $19 million to $60 million inside of 2 years. For no other reason than that. Now there's lots of other things that had to happen, for that to work. But what's really interesting is when guests come in now and they're greeted and they're worked with by one of my associates, they're treated the same way that I would treat them, because that's money out of their pocket. And I'm really proud to say every December, every employee from our organization, from the guard out front at the guard shack, the CEO of the company gets checks. And it's really, it goes a long, long way when early part of December, you can give an employee a check that's equivalent to what he's earned for the entire year on an hourly rate. So think about what that does. Think about the morale that that creates inside your organization. Now, that took some time to get there, but you've got to start with a thought process. And I always knew that what drove our business, it wasn't necessarily me. I may be steering it, but there's a lot of people pushing the pedals to get it there. So I needed to make sure I gave them the rewards and the incentive that were necessary to be able to go forward. So that facility really started to do a really sufficient job, started to make significant money there, and we looked really at expansion. How do we expand, or where do we go? Well, in 1996, I had a gentleman knock on my door one day, comes in, and he's 6'10". His name is Marcus Kelly. He played for the Harlem Globetrotters. And he's just a terrific young man. He's today a school teacher in the Philadelphia school system. And he says, Mr. Rastelli, he said, I spent the last 2 years in the United Arab Emirates, and there's just no good meat over there. He said, I stayed there and I taught basketball. He said, but I made a lot of great contacts, and I'd love to take you over there. Maybe we can sell meat over there. Now, I'm not so sure why he picked me or why he picked my organization, but after a little bit of due diligence on him, 2 weeks later, him and I were on a plane. We spent 2 weeks in the United Arab Emirates, and back then there wasn't a whole lot there. We were in Dubai. Dubai had one American hotel, the Intercontinental Hotel. You had to make sure you had people with you everywhere you went. But what we did for 2 weeks was we went to every supermarket, and we went to about 25 to 30 restaurants. And we asked them if they'd buy our product. I had brochures. I had everything I could show them, but I didn't have any meat to show them. And I had quite a bit of interest. I had people who said, you know what, we'd like that product. Can you get it here? So, of course, my next challenge was, how do I get it there, right? I got people who wanted, what am I going to do to get it there? So we're driving back to the hotel one night, and I see a truck pass, and it said 7 C's Distribution. So I said, follow that truck, said the cabbie. So the cabbie follows the truck, and luckily the truck went back to his warehouse, which was just outside of Dubai, on the way to Abu Dhabi. So we pull into the parking lot, and I say to the cab driver, can you kind of sit and wait for me? And he says, yes. So I walk in, and there's a receptionist there, and I said, hello, here's my card, and I'd like to see if I could talk to someone in operations about possibly handling my product and distributing it. And she says, well, the operations director isn't here, but let me see what I can do. 5 minutes later, she says, the president of our company said he'll speak with you. So she escorts me back into his office, and he's a little tiny guy about this big. His name is Fred Sidwa, an Indian. I sit down, and I explain to him what I had been doing for the previous 2 weeks. And he said to me, okay, just like that, okay. And I said, Mr. Sidwa, just like that, okay? He said, yes. Let me tell you a little story. Said, I've been working here since I was 16. He said, I'm 62. He said, I started sweeping floors. Then I drove a truck. Then I went into sales. Then I became the sales manager. Became the operations manager. He said, I became the general manager. He said, and one day, Mr. Polini, who was the owner, came to me and said, Fred, here's the keys. I'm retiring. I don't have any kids. You've done a great job for me and my family. The company's yours. He says, well, Mr. Polini's name ended in a vowel, and so does yours. So I'm going to give it a shot. Sometimes you just got to be lucky, right? But you make your own luck is really what happens. You really have to make those things happen. So he gave us an opportunity. And we brought one container, a 140-foot container. We sent it into Abu Dhabi. And about every 90 days, we were sending a container in until the first Gulf War broke out. The first Gulf War broke out. The Barry Amendment says that if you are a U.S. military person, wherever you are in the world, you have to eat product that comes from the United States. Right? So, of course, the U.S. military, the first Kuwait War breaks out in the Gulf, and the U.S. goes to that region and says, we need to find somebody who's going to distribute product. They went to 7 Seas. They went to 7 Seas and said, who do you know in the United States that can help you with product? Rastelli's. So again, a little bit of luck. We went from sending one container every 90 days to sending 100 containers every 7 days. Every 7 days. That had to be financed, right?